Fortifeye.com.
You've heard about the benefits of omega-3 fish oils. Study after study on the effect of omega-3s on everything from heart health to emotional well-being. Get the most out of your omega-3s with Fortifeye's Super Omega-3 Max, the most potent omega-3 supplement in the industry. Fortifeye's Super Omega-3 Max features one of the highest omega-3 fish oils available, purified and concentrated in a state-of-the-art facility in Norway, allowing for more EPA and DHA combined in the same size capsule. That means you get 50% more potency in every dose without increasing the dosage. Super Omega-3 Max is perfect for people striving to keep their hearts healthy and bodies operating at peak performance. Order Omega-3 Max today at Fortifeye.com. That's Fortifeye.com or call 866-503-9746. That's 866-503-9746. 866-503-9746 and at Fortifeye.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Michael Lange, board-certified optometric physician and certified nutritional specialist, and the founder of the Lange Eye Institute and Fortifeye Vitamins. I've hosted the very popular Ask the Doctor program since 1993. I educate you on the latest advancements.
Ask the Doctor with Michael Lange begins in 10 seconds.
When it comes to your health, are you seeing the check engine light come on more than normal? It's time to get under the hood. It's time for Ask the Doctor with Dr. Michael Lange. Sponsored by Lange Eye Institute and Fortifeye Vitamins. Dr. Lange is a board-certified optometric physician and certified nutrition specialist, helping people see and feel better through proper nutrition for 25 years. The doctor is in. Call now with your questions at 877-969-8600. That's 877-969-8600. Here's your host, Dr. Michael Lange.
Okay, good morning and welcome to Ask the Doctor. I'm your host as usual, Dr. Michael Lange of the Lange Eye Institute and Fortifeye Vitamins, here each and every Saturday morning for over 33 years live to answer any and all questions you may have regarding your vision, eye care, or a nutritionally related topic. If you're new to the program, who's Dr. Lange? I'm a board-certified optometric physician. I'm a certified nutritional specialist. I have degrees in psychology and physiological optics. Started Lange Eye Care and Associates in Ocala, Florida, March 15th of 1993. We opened 14 locations in the state of Florida and 3 LASIK surgery centers. And then, about 8-9 years ago, private equity made me a deal I couldn't pass up. I sold all the offices except the Lange Eye Institute in the Villages. And we've kept that. That's where I hail from. That's where Dr. Susan Summerton, who is also the co-host of this show, hails from. Dr. Lori Caputi and Dr. Christine, who starts very soon. And we are opening the Lange Eye Institute of Ocala very soon by January 1st in the old Coca-Cola building in Ocala, Florida, the old Coca-Cola bottling plant right on 27th. That is Bonnie Heath Avenue or Road and Magnolia. And we're going to expand on that in a few minutes. But first, I want to welcome my co-host and the asset to the Lange Eye Institute and Fortifeye Vitamins, and that's Dr. Susan Summerton. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning, Dr. Lange, and good morning to all our listeners and hopefully callers out there today. We're looking forward to another great show on this beautiful sunny day here in Florida. I'm actually calling in live from Kissimmee, Florida today, a new location for me. I'm visiting family, so I'm on the road here and happy to help in any way we can today.
Wow, you're near Disney World.
Right by Disney World. That's actually where I grew up, I grew up with Disney World.
Wow. I remember going Disney World like opening day. My parents and I pulled a StarCraft pop-up camper and we camped in the campground. God, that was probably in the 60s or the 70s. Good time.
And that would have been, I think Disney opened in 1971. So it must have been around the early 70s. That's when they still had tickets to go into Disney for all the rides.
That was 71. The only hotels were the Contemporary and the Polynesian. And everything else was just, woods. All right. Let's open up the phone lines. If you got a question, remember, this is a live call-in show. The number is 877-969-8600. Remember, no matter how simple or complicated your question is, as long as it has to do with your vision and eye care or a nutritionally related topic, we will try to answer it to the best of our ability. So that's 877-969-8600. You can follow us on LinkedIn Dr. Michael Lange on LinkedIn, YouTube, and you can watch this show, an hour or two later on YouTube and look at all the old shows. And that's simply Dr. Michael Lange Ocular Health channel. So Dr. Michael Lange Ocular Health channel. And then certainly Facebook, Instagram. A lot of you are watching me on my personal Instagram. That's just simply Dr. Michael Lange _. Remember, there's a lot of fake Dr. Michael Langes. If you just type Dr. Lange into Instagram, there's 400 fake ones that come up. You have to go Dr. Michael Lange _. We got a blue check. About 300,000 followers are getting close to that anyway. So follow me there. And it's a good idea to follow me on Instagram because every now and then I run a really good special and I run a code. Sometimes it's only for 2 hours. Sometimes it's for 6 hours. Sometimes it's for 24 hours. But the only place I run it is on Instagram at Dr. Michael Lange _. All right. So what are we going to talk about today? First things first, I want to let everybody know that I will be at the Fortifeye Nutrition Center today. And today is sometime in June. I don't know the date. The June 13th. All right. So June 13th, if this is a tape, then you'll know. So June 13th, I'll be at the Fortifeye Nutrition Center in Clearwater from 1 to 3. So come on out, pick my brain for 2 hours, 1 to 3 at the Fortifeye Nutrition Center, right next to Publix at the Bayside Bridge Plaza. Also, we are hiring scribes, opticians, and optical salespeople for the new Lange Eye Institute in Ocala, but also for the Lange Eye Institute in the Villages. So if you're interested, please contact my wife. I'll give you her email address. That is langtammy@gmail.com. So LANGE, and Tammy is TAMIE. So langtammy@gmail.com. And send your resume. And if you're interested in that job as a scribe or optical sales, or if you're just a really good person and you're good with people, we can train you. So we're hiring a lot of people getting ready for the grand opening of the Lange Eye Institute in the Villages. And we will be open on Saturdays. And Dr. Summerton, we haven't been open in the Villages on Saturday, but I think having at least one office open would be a good thing because we do get a lot of emergencies on the weekends, don't we?
Right. And there is things we know in eye care, just like most of medical issues, the sooner it's taken care of, the better. So we don't want you to have to wait even longer for those emergency eye issues. So we can get right on it. And I was looking at, you brought up the new building, and I was kind of curious myself. And you mentioned it was historic, and you probably already know this, but it was built in 1939 in a mission Spanish revival style and is listed on the U.S. National Register of Historic Places. That's a very nice building.
It's pretty cool. Yep. And they got a lot of Coca-Cola memorabilia throughout, like special handles designed like Coke bottles and little signage. And we're going to have a little area dedicated, to Coca-Cola, maybe Coke bottle glasses.
Maybe the ones that can tell closest to the original formula of Coca-Cola.
There you go.
Stay away from that high fructose corn syrup one.
And the original formula is at McDonald's, right? But you know where else it is now?
Where?
Steak and Shake.
Is it? I did not know that. That's another thing they've added to Steak and Shake.
Yep. So Steak and Shake, if you're going to eat fast food, I don't get anything for endorsing Steak and Shake, but remember, a lot of the fast food restaurants, the things are just overly processed, the foods that you're eating, and probably eating a lot of chemicals and a lot of ingredients that maybe shouldn't go into your body, overly processed. So Steak and Shake is taking the bull by the horns, and they're actually giving grass-fed and grass-finished beef in their hamburgers, and they have a lettuce hamburger. So it's a lettuce wrap, so you don't have to have the bread. And they're doing their fries in tallow instead of omega-6 pro-inflammatory oils. And they're using A2 cow's milk for their milkshakes. Can you believe that?
That is great because there are times with people on the go and you want to try to make the healthiest of choices. And that's the way to do it. Where else are you going to find grass-fed beef? Even a lot of these fancy restaurants don't have grass-fed beef. It's always usually corn-fed.
Right. Think about it.
People don't know, you mentioned A2. A2 is that cow's milk that contains the beta casein protein. And so it does make it easier to digest than other milk.
Right. A2 cow's milk is much healthier than A1, according to the research that you can find now online. So it's interesting that Steak and Shake is doing that. So I think their sales will be going up. A fast food, health food restaurant. Think about it. If you got the lettuce, a double burger, lettuce wrap, you got pickles and onions and lettuce and tomato on it, it's not that bad with grass-fed beef. Remember, we all need more protein. You remember that little old commercial where that lady pulled up at the Wendy's? Where's the beef? Remember that little old lady? That was a good commercial.
We do remember those classic commercials. But I think, didn't Oprah get in trouble for talking about the beef?
I don't know. She's always in trouble. I have no idea. But I got to, everybody, next week, I will be out of the office. I'll be there Monday, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'll be at the International Society of Sports Nutrition in Fort Lauderdale. So Fortifeye Vitamins is sponsoring it. So the Fortifeye Vitamin team will be there, and we'll have a booth set up. We're one of the sponsors. We're going to be learning the latest in nutrition for overall health, for sports, and for enhancing our body's athletic ability and overall health. So we'll bring back and talk about that on this show the following Saturday. I will be live that following Saturday because I'll get in late Friday night. So I will not be seeing patients Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, but Dr. Summerton and Dr. Caputi will hold down the fort. All right, we're going to the phone. I think Scott in Lumberton, Mississippi has been holding. So let's go to the phone. Scott, Lumberton, Mississippi.
Good morning. How y'all are?
Oh, we're doing great. This must be the Mississippi man.
That's it. What's going on, buddy? I listen to you from time to time, and I also follow you some on might be Instagram. And just now I picked up on some good info about that Steak and Shake. That's kind of interesting.
Well, it is. It's something that now you have a choice, an alternative for a kind of a healthy fast food.
Yes. My question is, I know you got other callers, but I can get to it. I'm out here in the woods and doing whatnot and have dry eyes sometimes. Now, is it bad to keep putting, I guess, over-the-counter eye drops just to clear things up? But how much should it be cleared up as far as keep putting in your eyes? Followed up by went to the eye doctor, and checked for glaucoma. Maybe you might have glaucoma, but I know I didn't have great peripheral vision and all that. And then I had to go back again. How necessary is that?
Yeah,
as far as detecting glaucoma?
Well, that's very necessary. Both of us will expand on that in a second. Let's talk about if you're out in the woods and you get something in your eye, irritating your eye. I think just an over-the-counter artificial tear is probably fine. Buy one that's preservative-free. So there's numerous brands, Sustain, Refresh, Soothe, but make sure it's preservative-free. Or you can certainly go to our website at fortifeye.com, and you can buy either Oasis Tears Plus or one of the Optase lubricants. I like both of them. They're preservative-free, and they have hyaluronic acid in them, which is kind of a natural anti-inflammatory, and they tend to last a little bit longer than the ones you buy over the counter. But I think you're fine with the over-the-counter ones. It's just if you want the best, look at Oasis Tears or Optase Tears. Now, if you are going to your local optometrist or ophthalmologist and they say you're suspicious for glaucoma, you need to take this seriously, and you got to follow up on it because your pressure may be elevated in your eye, but if it's elevated, that doesn't necessarily mean you have glaucoma. You can have elevated pressure and not have glaucoma. By the same token, you can have normal pressure and have glaucoma. Remember, glaucoma is the sneak thief of your sight, and you can and will go blind from it before you die if it goes untreated. So you got to take this very seriously. There is no symptoms. Right. You have no symptoms. You don't have any blurred vision or any pain, okay? So you can't detect it. Only your eye doctor can detect it. And that's something that Lange Eye Institute, we have, state-of-the-art equipment to detect it early and to make sure we make the right diagnosis. A lot of patients are treated unnecessarily because they have elevated pressure, but they may have very, very thick corneas, and their pressure really isn't causing a problem. So you don't want to be taking drugs for glaucoma if you don't have to. And then there's some other things that we can do holistically and alternatively. And Dr. Summerton's kind of an expert in that whole arena. But I want you to chime in about this whole glaucoma thing, how seriously it potentially can be, Dr. Summerton.
Right. The main thing about glaucoma is you can lose that side peripheral vision. So you can actually feel like you have good vision, seeing 20/20, and slowly, typically, you'll lose these little blind spots off to the side. So a lot of people don't notice that's happening. And the problem is once you've lost those spots, we are unable to bring those back. So with glaucoma, it's always better sooner rather than later to make sure we're doing as much as we can to prevent it. And then once, if you do get it, that we do need to treat it with things like eye drops to lower the pressure. There's laser surgeries that help increase the flow of the fluid. And there's even like these little implants now that you can get in your eye that release the medicine from like 6 to 9 months, even up to 2 years. And so there's lots of new treatments that are very effective so that we don't need to see any of that side vision loss or worse, that tunnel vision effect that can come from glaucoma.
Okay, well, it's good to hear about those treatments you have available, because I didn't know you had all those different varieties of treatments. So that's good to know too.
Yeah, we do have, and just like you mentioned, the first treatment that we talked about is drops. And we have the same issue with drops for glaucoma, where a lot of them have preservatives in them. So some people struggle with the drops for glaucoma. So it is nice that we have other options. A particular preservative that you want to avoid is on the bottle. If it says BAK, that's one that can really kind of irritate the surface of the eye. So especially when you're trying to soothe the surface with moisture drops, you want to make sure it doesn't have that BAK in it. It'll be written very, very small on the back of the label.
And Scott, there's also, let's say you're on the fence. Let's say your doctor says maybe you're a little borderline suspect for glaucoma, but they're not treating it. There is a vitamin that we developed through Fortifeye Vitamins, and it's called eye pressure and neurocognitive support. And it's based on some legitimate clinical science. There's some many studies talking about mirtogenol, which is a combination of bilberry and pine bark extract, but a precise ratio that has been shown to lower intraocular pressure. And some of the studies, some of the patients had as low pressure as 30% in some of the studies. And it also works very well. So a lot of times we bring the pressure down with one drug and we don't want to put them on a second drug, but we still have to bring the pressure down a little bit more. It works well with glaucoma medications as well. So this is not a first line treatment. It is not a cure for glaucoma. You do not stop taking your glaucoma medications. But what it does, it can lower the pressure naturally, and it has neuroprotective properties. It has something called Numintix, a spearmint extract that's been shown to help preserve the ganglion cells in the nerve fiber layer, even with elevated pressure. So it's the first vitamin in the world that I know of that not only brings down intraocular pressure, but has neuroprotective properties as well. So it is called Fortifeye Eye Pressure and Neurocognitive Support, and it's on the website at fortifeye.com. So that's FORTIFEYE, so fortifeye.com. So something to consider as well. And you can go to that website and at least read the science, read the studies, so you can kind of learn about it.
That's very good information, as always, because you always do your homework and y'all inventive on a lot of things. So that's good to hear, and I appreciate y'all's time. Y'all have a good day.
All right, Scott, you take care.
Thanks, man. Bye.
Yeah, Scott's been a caller for a long time. I think he picked us up on WRNO years ago. Remember WRNO when I lived in New Orleans was We're the Rock of New Orleans, but now it's talk radio. And the Mississippi man, Scott in Lumberton, I think listens to WRNO an hour before this show, because we're on an hour before in Mississippi and Louisiana. I used to go to a camp called King's Arrow Ranch, Susan, in Lumberton, Mississippi. King's Arrow Ranch.
Wow.
And I would go for 2 weeks. We lived in cabins. We shot bows and arrows. We shot guns. We rode horses. We did rodeos. We did football and all sorts of stuff. And it was interesting. It was a Christian camp, and it was a lot of fun. And that was back in the 70s.
Great outdoor activities that are great to get your kids involved of, because that's the other thing we know. They get the benefits of the exercise, but these kids that develop myopia, that nearsightedness, one of the things we encourage to prevent that is that outdoor play in the sunshine, stimulating that peripheral vision and getting the sun. And it's not only great for kids' happiness, because what kid doesn't like to go to summer camp, but it's great for their eyes too.
Oh, I agree. And kids need to get outdoors more instead of just being in front of that computer. Get some of the sunshine, get some of the vitamin D, get some fresh air, get some exercise instead of just playing video games all day long on the computer. All right, we're getting ready to take the next call. If you got a question, give us a call at 877-969-8600. That's 877-969-8600. You're listening to Ask the Doctors. Dr. Michael Lange and Dr. Susan Summerton, both of the Lange Eye Institute in the Villages and soon Ocala. And we're here to answer those questions. Let's go to the next call. I think it's Steve in Clearwater. Steve, good morning and welcome to the program.
Yes, the 21st is the summer solstice. And did you remind Dr. Summerton what the Saturday before the summer solstice is?
That's Summerton solstice.
Yeah, yes, it's every year. The Saturday before the summer solstice will be considered the Summerton solstice. And from now on, she has to do the program all alone without you holding her hand on that date. You don't have to do it next week, but every year after that, she'll have to do it on her own. And I suggest the word solstice comes from the word solar. So I think next week on the Summerton solstice, solar system, we discuss the sun and how it affects your eyes and vitamin D and different things about vitamin D. That's my suggestion. Second issue, but after I get off the phone, I'd like you to talk about your new physician, Dr. Christine or Kristen or whatever her name is, and give us a brief resume of her, of who she is and where she comes from. And finally, you were talking about glaucoma and peripheral vision.
Right.
Okay. One thing that you can tell, and I talked to Operation Stargate, which was back in the remote viewing when they were first learning remote viewing, a very mysterious thing. One way when remote viewers see things, they remote view. One of the characteristics is, and when they see, is that their vision, they have no issue with peripheral vision. Since they're not using a physical eye, they have 360-degree vision, not 180. They have 360 degrees. And the way you can tell if they're really seeing things is that the vision is 360 degrees because it's not limited by a physical eye. A very interesting thing that they found out now. Here's the very mysterious thing about it. They find out that people who have done remote viewing for a real long time, when their eyes are tested, their physical eyes, just like you test eyes every day, their peripheral vision is not 360 because it can't be, but it's greater than most people's. Now figure that one out.
Interesting. So, they have enhanced peripheral vision. Might be good for glaucoma patients and retinitis pigmentosa
when they're doing
patients.
Remote viewing, when they're doing remote viewing, it's 360 panoramic vision. They can see 360 degrees. Okay, because that's coming from a remote viewing thing. But what's very mysterious is after they've done remote viewing for a couple years, what they can see their natural physical peripheral vision when they test it is far better than most people's, and that shouldn't affect it. They don't understand that.
Well, Steve, I think my wife Tammy, she's been obviously remote viewing all her life because she's got eyes in the back of her head. I can't get away with anything. All right. So she's got eyes more than 360. Trust me. But that's very interesting. And we got a lot of people loading up on the phone, Steve.
Okay.
Thanks for the call.
Well, you have a good day.
You too. All right, buddy.
Bye.
Interesting call.
We used to call that eye the mommy eye. I would tell my kids that we were watching them with that mommy eye that saw 360 degrees around.
All right, we're getting ready to take another call in just a second, but we got to cover something really quick. If you got a question, give us a call at 877-969-8600, 877-969-8600. Dennis, hold for just one more minute. I got to we got to talk about something really quick before we run out of time. we wanted to mention something about curcumin. All right. We've had a lot of people call in and email me, say, Dr. Lange, Dr. Summerton, you haven't talked about curcumin in a long time. And curcumin is really hot and on fire right now. And curcumin is a nutrient, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory derived from the turmeric root. So you have that turmeric spice. So curcumin is in that. The problem with most curcumin is it doesn't absorb well. It's kind of like omega-3 fish oil. You've heard us talk about omega-3, how you need the RTG or TG form of omega-3. Well, when you go into curcumin, you need a form that actually absorbs, that's healthy for you and not toxic. So what they do, they use biopiprine or black pepper extract to make it absorb. That makes it absorb better. And long term, it's not healthy because it can disrupt the mucosal lining in your gut. But worse yet, there's studies that indicate it might not be the best thing in the world for your liver. So we don't want to take long-term anything with lots of black pepper extract in it. And then other curcumins, they use synthetics to make it absorb better. So there is a curcumin that we highly recommend. It's called Curcugen. Curcugen is the only oleoresin food-grade curcumin, and absorption is not an issue, okay? It actually is derived from the entire plant. The whole turmeric root is how it's designed, and it uses the oleoresins and the polar resins and the natural essential oils, and it's all natural and absorbs 30 times better than active free curcumin. So 39 times better. But the big kicker here, it's natural and not synthetic. So curcumin is a natural anti-inflammatory. It's a natural antioxidant. It's amazing for the brain and the retina. And we're going to talk about how it's good for the brain and the retina. And even for uveitis, that's an inflammatory condition. It works as good as steroids. But also, I mean, we've talked about that before. A lot of people don't realize that curcumin could be beneficial if you're into sports, for sports nutrition. And of course, I am into sports. Dr. Summerton is into sports and working out. And we want to do everything we can to help reduce our recovery time and help reduce injury. And Dr. Summerton, there is some interesting studies now that talks about curcumin and for athletes, isn't it? And non-athletes.
It is. And before I mention that study we're talking about, I wanted to bring up too about that black pepper. One of the reasons some doctors worry about you taking curcumin with medication is actually because not of the curcumin, it's the black pepper. So the black pepper is put in it to help you absorb it. But if you're taking it, that also increases the absorption of your medications. So it'll throw off the dosage of your medications. So that's why they warn you about taking that with. So you always want to check with your doctor, but definitely you want to look at the label and make sure if you're taking medicines, your supplements don't have that black pepper extract in it. And then for the study that we were talking about this week, because we do, no one likes to go to the gym and then be sore after, which will postpone the next time you're going to go to the gym. And we want you going to the gym. We want you getting outside and exercise. We want those muscles being stimulated. And they did another study of the anti-inflammatory, so lowering any of that swelling after in a natural way. So after exercise, it has been proven to decrease that muscle soreness and also improve performance. This one study looked at vertical jump and these isometric strength tests, and they noted that that curcumin was able to lower, or what we call downregulate, those inflammatory pathways to stop what we call oxidative stress, which is that kind of driver of that post-muscle workout pain and the muscles not functioning away. It does it in a natural way. You want a little bit of inflammation trigger in those muscles to trigger them to build. If you take the NSAIDs after for the inflammation, it actually stops the building of the muscle. So we want a natural way to do it. So you don't have the soreness, so you're continually motivated to keep building strength.
Yep. And so curcumin, think about it. Think about Curcugen. And of course, that's what we use in our Next Gen Curcumin by Fortifeye Vitamins. So you can see all those studies and the science behind the bioavailability studies if you go to fortifeye.com or call Fortifeye Vitamins at 866-503-9746. I'm going to give you that phone number again. Get a pen and a paper and write it down. Fortifeye Vitamins, 503-9746, or go to fortifeye.com, Fortifeye, fortifeye.com. Go to Next Gen Curcumin, fueled by Curcugen. So this can help all of you athletes out there know what DOMS is and ROMS. DOMS is delayed onset muscle soreness, and ROMS is range of motion. So curcumin can help both of that. So if you're into, working out a lot, if you're going to the gym, if you're playing a lot of sports, if you're doing Pilates or yoga or Orange Theory or anything like that, you may want to add the curcumin to your supplement regimen. And of course, pre-workout and post-workout, you want the Fortifeye Fit Pro. And remember, Fortifeye Fit Pro is available now. We were on back order for a while, and it's in a strawberry watermelon and in pina colada now. So think about that. All right, Next Gen Curcumin is available at fortifeye.com. We're going to talk more about curcumin in a few minutes, but we're going back to the phones, and we're going to see what Dennis has to say today. Dennis, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Lang.
How are you?
Fine, thanks.
What can we do for you?
I spoke to you last week, remember?
Yes, I do.
I'll stop asking one thing. You think I might be the right person for this project that helps people see better? You think I might do it to everybody, or just to certain people?
Well, if you have had a retinal detachment that you have had, and your vision is dramatically reduced to the point where you don't have vision, then you may be a candidate in the near future for some of this, new technology, microchip implants, even stem cells, things of this nature. And like I tell you, always, keep the hope and keep the faith. And I think you're a patient over at University of Florida. They have a very good retina department there. And so I think you're in good hands, and they'll certainly enlighten you when there's anything available. But remember, you got to keep moving. You got to keep healthy, eat the right foods, eat the right, fruits and vegetables, stay lean, exercise. Even if you're blind, you have to do these things, because remember, we see with the brain. The eye is an organ that transmits the signal to the brain. So we want to keep your brain healthy. So when there is something available, we'll be able to bring you out of the darkness. Okay. Now, you do have some vision in one eye. How old are you? Dennis?
My birthday, I was born in 62, so I'm 63 today, correct?
All right. You're a young man then. So you got another 50 years ahead of you. So you got to, like I said, just stay tuned to this show. And as soon as there is something available, we'll certainly discuss it on this show, and keep follow up with the retina department over there at University of Florida, and life will be good. You got it?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right, Dennis. Take care. Thanks for the call. All right.
Dennis, thanks for his birthday today. If it was, happy birthday, Dennis.
Is it his birthday?
I think that's what he said.
November.
It's your birthday, Dennis?
No, November. I'm just saying that I'm born in 62.
Sorry about that.
All right.
Happy early birthday.
We'll wish you, Matt. We'll wish you a happy birthday. You can call us in November and let us know that you're 64.
Okay.
All right, Dennis. Take care, my friend.
All right. Bye, Mr. Lang.
Bye-bye. All right. You're listening to Ask the Doctor. It's Dr. Michael Lange and Dr. Susan Summerton. And we do have some interesting callers that call quite frequently. And Dennis has been one of those for many years. Bob used to be a caller. Bob moved to Mississippi, I hear. He might be living next to the Mississippi man. Bob should call again. People that have been listening to this show for years and years, Bob called for 20 years. He was the first caller. He would call 30 minutes ahead of time to make sure he was the first caller. And if I accidentally took somebody before him, he would really get ticked off. All right. Let's open up the phones.
You, Bob.
You're listening to Ask the Doctor. 877-969-8600. That's 877-969-8600. Remember, we are hiring at the Lange Eye Institute, and we will train you, but we would love to have people that are experienced scribes and optical sales. So come bring your resume to the Lange Eye Institute in the Villages. Remember, we're hiring for Ocala and the Villages, or send it to my lovely bride. That's Tammy at langtammy@gmail.com. That's LANGE. Tammy's TAMIE @gmail.com. So we are expanding. We're going to hire about 30 more employees. So come on out and let's see if we can get you. You know, who better to work for than me? I mean, come on. I'm pretty easygoing and laid back. I don't crack the whip too much. I'm a pretty decent
I
guy,
will
don't you
back
think,
you up
Dr.
on that,
Summerton?
Dr. Lang.
What do you
I
think?
agree. You are a great person to work for. We really should promote how it is a great pay. We have a good team. We have family members that work there. We're privately owned. It's not a big corporation. We do get lots of benefits, like you get us lunch all the time, and we just communicate well with each other. Patients, we are grateful that come in and compliment on the customer service because we're aware of what's going on to the best as we can. If there's an issue, we're not perfect, but there's an issue, we're a close enough network of group of people where we can try to provide that customer service in the best way we know. So we want to provide excellent care to our patients, but we also want to provide excellent customer service, and we want the patient to enjoy the experience, and we want our employees to enjoy working there and feel that family atmosphere that we really do have.
Amen. And we live in the community, so we're going to go that extra mile. You know, you bring that up. We're privately owned and we're not corporately owned. You know, private equity has bought everything. It seems like there's no private practices left anymore. You know, all the big ophthalmology and big optometry centers are all corporately owned now. Well, just about all of them are. The Lange Eye Institute is not. Now, remember, I did sell out. So I sold out 9 years ago. It was a good day, I have to admit. But now my contract to not compete is over, and we're going to start expanding back to Ocala. Lange Eye Institute will be on the corner of, let's see, that's Bonnie Heath, which is 27th Avenue, I think, and Magnolia. So right there on the outskirts of the downtown historic district, and it's the old Coca-Cola bottling plant. It's over 10,000 square feet, and it's going to be really nice, 3 stories. It's going to be like the Ritz-Carlton when you walk in. So it's going to be a first-class place, privately owned, once again, locally owned, for your eye care and your nutritional. It'll be a nutritional wellness and eye care center. So we're going to be open by January. We'll throw a big party probably in December. All right, let's give you the phone numbers for the Lange Eye Institute if you'd like to call for an appointment, if you'd like to come in and see Dr. Summerton or myself. Maybe you have dry eyes and you've tried just about everything on the market for your dry eyes. You've tried every tier, you've tried every drug, you've had punctal occlusion, you've had LipiFlow, and maybe you still have dry eye. Well, we've got a combination that really works. When we combine the OptiLight from Luminous, that's IPL, intense pulse light therapy, and we combine that with OptiLift, that uses dynamic muscle stimulation and radio frequency. The two combined, I got to tell you, for all of my patients that have resistant terrible dry eye, it works quite well. It's really state-of-the-art technology, quite expensive technology. It's not covered by your insurance, but the price isn't that bad. But Dr. Summerton, we've seen so many patients, you know, over the last year and a half now since we've had this technology, that we've literally tried everything to help them on dry eye, but yet their eyes still feel sandy, gritty, burn, tear, itch, fluctuation in vision, recurrent infections. And so a lot of that is related to just severely blocked meibomian glands. And a lot of these patients come in, they're on chronic abuse of doxycycline and oral antibiotics. And that's actually disrupting the microbiome and causing all sorts of other problems. So this is kind of a natural approach, non-medicated, non-surgical approach to helping these people, isn't it?
It is, and we have so many people that do struggle with dry eye and different levels of dry eye. And a big thing is what you mentioned, those meibomian glands. Those are the glands that are inside both upper and lower eyelids. So people think of the tears as just kind of water, but there's an oil component to the layer of the tears. So every time you blink, your lids should come together. So your lids need to be tight against the surface of your eye, and squeeze just a little bit of oil into that tear film. That oil prevents your tears from evaporating. We need about 16 seconds before your tears start evaporating, because if it's anything less than that, that evaporation is going to cause that blurry vision. It's going to cause that discomfort. It's going to cause that burning. It's going to cause that gritty feeling. So we want that oily protective layer. If you think about if you had dry skin and you try to moisturize it with just water, it's going to be very temporary. But if you have an oil consistency, it's going to be smooth, it's going to work better. We want that natural oil being able to come out of those meibomian glands. So that's why we encourage the fish oil. But the treatment, the IPL, that helps encourage that meibomian fluid to come out into the tear film. And the Opti-Lift helps tighten those eyelids against the eye so that when you do blink, you get that little bit of squeeze. We see a lot of patients, especially in the villages, their lids are lax and they're loose. And so their reason for dry eye is simply because their lids aren't closing together properly or they're not squeezing properly. So it's the mechanics that we have to fix in the muscles of the eyelid.
Right. And there's an aesthetic benefit, which is an added benefit. So the main reason we're doing this, obviously, is to help with your dry eye. So we tighten up the lids. We help reduce the lower lid laxity. We open the meibomian glands, and you start secreting a healthier tear film, and your lids are up close against your globe, kind of like a windshield wiper, not flopping on the windshield. And so the combination of luminous Opti-Light and luminous Opti-Lift is kind of the double whammy of treating this dry eye. So if you're interested, certainly give us a call at the Lange Eye Institute. I'm going to give you the number twice. We're the only eye care center that has both of these technologies, within about a 50, 60-mile radius or more. So call Lange Eye Institute at 352-753-4014. That's 352-753-4014. And then somebody on YouTube has a question, I think, for Dr. Summerton, actually. Wanting to know, says, hello, Dr. Lange, what advice do you have for women post-menopause for natural hormone replacement? Now, this is definitely an area that Dr. Summerton will shine over me about.
Yeah, for the natural hormones, you can get products with DHEA in it and not DHA that we talk about in fish oil. It's DHEA, and they come in lotions, and that kind of helps naturally balance the hormones, kind of perimenopause, menopausal stage. And it's just basically what we're saying, lifestyle. The diet is going to affect your hormones. The sleep is going to affect your hormones. Exercise is going to affect the hormones. So we want to adjust that lifestyle because the better the hormones are, the better you're going to feel and the more motivated you are to exercise. And sometimes that just doesn't work in the natural way. So there are people to get the hormones tested and visit your doctor where you can get hormone supplementation. But I agree, we need to do the lifestyle natural changes first.
Right. And what about a lot of women say when they're on their dry eye supplement, the black currant seed oil, the Fortifeye black currant seed oil, which is high in GLA, is there evidence out there that can help with postmenopausal women as well?
Yes, absolutely. And I find especially the perimenopause, menopause women who are having dry eye and dry skin, if they do that combination of the omega-3 essential fatty acid, the fish oil, and they do the black currant seed oil and a little bit of the focus with the lutein, zeaxanthin, and astaxanthin, they do make huge gains in the feeling of their dry eye and their dry skin too. And so if the omega-3 isn't enough, adding that black currant seed oil can typically just do that little extra trick to make you feel much more comfortable.
Right. And that combination is called Fortifeye Advanced Dry Eye Therapy, where we take it and we put it in a box, basically. You get the Fortifeye Super Omega or Super Omega 3 Max, you get to pick, and the Fortifeye Focus in a bottle and the Fortifeye Black Currant Seed Oil. The combination of those three really does act on all three prostaglandins, Series 1, Series 2, and Series 3, and also acts on a lot of other inflammatory pathways. So it's amazing not only for dry eye, but for dry skin, dry mouth, and also for achy joints. So something to think about. It's called Fortifeye Advanced Dry Eye Therapy. You get all three in a box, and it is discounted significantly. It's been extremely popular. All right, we're opening up the phone lines. If you got a question, give us a call at 877-969-8600. That's 877-969-8600. I want to talk a little bit more about curcumin and brain health. So levels of a brain-derived neurotrophin factor, that's called BDNF, actually increase when you take curcumin. So that helps support the growth of, believe it or not, new neurons in the brain, and this increases learning ability and memory. So this may be very effective for people with dementia and Alzheimer's. So it also has been shown to reduce beta amyloid plaque in the brain and inhibit new formation of beta amyloid plaque. So a good curcumin like Fortifeye Next Gen Curcumin may be advantageous for brain health. Also, when it comes to your retina, we do know it can reduce the size of drusen. These are fatty yellow deposits that are in your retina. And it also has what we call anti-VEGF activity. That means it may, just may, there's no clinical studies proving this, but it may help reduce the chances of dry macular degeneration turning into wet and having those irregular blood vessels that grow and can break down and bleed. And there are some small studies that suggest that it actually can maybe reduce lipofuscin buildup in the retina as well. Now, a lot of these are animal studies, and they're not big human studies yet, but also curcumin may be good for not only the brain, but the retina. But one reason we started using curcumin years and years ago, I mean, I'm talking 15, 20 years ago maybe, is for people that have recurrent uveitis. Uveitis and iritis is an inflammation of the internal structures of the eye and the anterior portion of the eye. And a lot of these people with recurrent chronic uveitis are just on steroid drops long term. And steroid long term, I'm going to let Dr. Summerton, chime in on some of the potential side effects from that. But curcumin, if you take the right curcumin, a lot of these people can get off of long-term steroid abuse, I call it. And when you add the omega-3 like Fortifeye Super Omega to the curcumin, it's kind of the double whammy fighting inflammation. So we do have some natural things in our arsenal, Dr. Summerton, especially for uveitis, that could be advantageous and help some of these people get off chronic steroid abuse.
Right. And anything, if it has the word itis after it, if you've been diagnosed with anything with itis after it, that means you have inflammation. So doing all you can to reduce it naturally, we understand that prednisone steroids, they're very important. We use steroids in the eye all the time. They are great short term. They really take care of it. But that long term, we know there's side effects in the eye. We simply, even if eye drops, we worry about long term of using steroids in the eye. We can actually induce glaucoma from that. So we have to be careful. And cataracts can be caused from long term steroids. So, but that's just the eye. When you're using it in your body, bone density can change. It can affect your teeth. There's lots of kind of those detrimental consequences of using it. So we want to try to, again, change the foods you eat, stay away from those processed foods. Those processed foods are going to cause a lot of inflammation in your diet. Sleep reduces inflammation. You get the good quality sleep, but that supplementing with that curcumin is just a natural way to boost in a therapeutic dose. You have to have enough to trigger your system, and that's why we use the supplementation to do what we call a therapeutic dose to have a therapeutic effect.
Yep. All right. So we talk a lot about a supplement we developed called Fortifeye Fit Pro that's now off back order, so you can order it. Fortifeye Fit Pro gives you the energy. You drink it 30 minutes before you work out, and you take it right after you work out. So it gives you the energy to have a great workout and then to help you recover very rapidly at any age. I got to tell you, folks, it works, and it's all natural. It's called Fortifeye Fit Pro. But let me ask you this, Dr. Summerton. So what about slowing down chromosomal aging, all right? If we have something like Fortifeye Fit Pro to give us the energy to work out more, is there any way that this would benefit slowing down the shrinkage rate of the telomere, which is the end cap of a chromosome? I think we're on to something.
Right. We were talking about that study of the role of strength training in that, where it actually did improve that telomere. And the telomeres are like the protective caps at the end of the chromosomes that they get shorter as people age. If you have shorter telomeres, then you have increased risk of chronic disease, aging of your cells, and of course, even increased risk of death. And so they did a study to see if regular strength training was linked to those longer telomeres. And sure enough, it was. So we want to motivate you and make you feel better. And so using things like the turmeric after you strength train so that you're more motivated to go do that 60 minutes or more of strength training per week. And so that you want to live longer and feel better.
Yep. And it actually is associated with reducing about 4 years of biological aging. So we know that resistance training will reduce the chance of you having dementia. We know it makes you live longer. And we know now it slows down chromosomal aging. So another reason to take the Fortifeye Fit Pro to give you the energy necessary to get a great workout and to recover very rapidly so you live longer. And biologically, you're younger and you look better. So we'll do a whole show on that. We're going to talk a lot more maybe next week about what we can do to slow down chromosomal aging, including the foods you can eat, the supplements, and the things that you can do. So we got a lot more to talk. The show went by very rapidly. Dr. Summerton, we got about 18 seconds, so you're going to tell everybody goodbye.
Thank you for listening, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Shout out to my dad. Happy 80th birthday.
Wow, congratulations. Hey, Dad, happy birthday. 80. You look 59. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and listening to Ask the Doctors. I'm Dr. Michael Lange, helping keep America fit and healthy. With that, we're out of here. God bless you, and God bless America.